I was gonna tell you, for my athletes, I sometime I'm Coach Ivan normally, but I can be Coach Ivan. You know what I mean? Ivan the
Yes.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yes, because we must have results.
You are listening to the Go Earn Your Salt podcast, brought to you by Salty Electrolytes. On this podcast, your host, Riley Rogers, explores the stories of people who get after it, get things done, and earn their salt. You will hear from high achievers who discuss what makes them tick, how they got to where they are today, and where they're headed tomorrow. Perhaps this podcast will help you go earn your salt. Today, I have Ivanov, the owner of Suples. He pronounces it Suples Wrestling Gear. And Ivan is joining us today. He and I met at Salt Lake City at the FightCon event here a couple weeks ago. And I just kind of got intrigued. I watched him and his team doing some training, using their equipment, and they had it all set up in this area. And they were, man, Yvonne was running these guys through the ringer, and it looked like a good time. Looked like very hard work. Yvonne, I want to welcome you to the show, man.
Thank you, Riley. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so I want to have you describe to us what is Suples. I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly. You're going to hear me say Suples through this episode. I apologize ahead of time, but can you tell us about
Still,
what the
it
company is,
means
where
the
it came from?
same. Yeah, means the same. Supple or suples. It's a wrestling technique. It's right here in our logo, and it's a Greco Roman uh, throw, but can be used for any styles of wrestling, including folk style. But folk style, you have to kind of throw a little bit on the side. It's not straight back, but belly to belly can be used in folk style as well because it's more safe. The word suplex means exactly that. It's the suplex, which is a French word for this technique that um, we all know. Supple or suples is Bulgarian pronunciation. That's the country I'm coming from originally. I'm native Bulgarian first, then I became American citizen later. So I'm half and half, half Bulgarian, half American, because even now more American because I've been living most of my life in the United States now. Um, but the name of this move means that body lock throw that we're doing. It's this technique that can be only executed from very skilled athletes, strong athletes. This move requires flexibility, explosive power, coordination, and of course, technical knowledge. So that's what means suples. Um, when I started to think about products that can help my athletes, can help my job as a coach to be more effective, um, and then we start doing some sales, mostly to coaches. um, then I decided that we have to register a company, and uh, that's why I registered a company in 2004, and it was Suples back then. Suples Ltd. It was like this.
Okay.
See, this is old logo that we don't use anymore. We still own. I still own Suples Ltd. But it I didn't even know back then much about branding. I didn't know about companies. I started Suples not really to think to sell. I started Suples because I needed equipment to help me through my training process. Like the first equipment came the Suples dummy. I call it Suples dummy because I not didn't invent the dummy, but I redesigned the dummy with appropriate weight, appropriate arm length, and body compositions. Or everything that for me the standard dummies are not useful. You probably know that in America there were a few companies that are making dummies, and they were actually, I found out later, they're They're football people. They're not wrestlers. So they're not using the dummies for technical throws that I understand. They're using it for pushing and just knocking them down. Not really, dummies are not functional as my dummies. So later, when I came up with the Bulgarian back, and we started to reach out more people. Um, they're coming to me actually, not me. I didn't market, I didn't do anything, but through my process of coaching, I was able coaching for USA Wrestling, especially at the national events. I was connected with many coaches, and they wanted to see what I do. I was doing clinics, or they come into the Olympic Training Center where I was located mostly. I was staying there. They started to see how I'm using the dummies, how I use the Bulgarian bag. Some original clips are out there on the internet how I coach my athletes. And then I had to I thought, wow, we have to make a logo. And what is that logo has to represent? I had to make a connection. My brother was here. He's also a wrestler. So both of us, my brother Stefan Ivanov, he's in Bulgaria now. He's running the manufacturing for Suples. So we have a very good understanding what we want to do together. And we said we have to come up with a logo that represents something. It cannot be just something. And we came up with the white, green, and red. This is the flag of Bulgaria, where we both came from,
Cool.
and we choose the suples, the move of the Greco Roman wrestling, mostly because that's where we came from. We're Greco guys, you know. So that's briefly the story about the brand.
So, Yvonne, talk about this, man. I would like to have you build a little background about what your athletic career looked like. What's when did you start wrestling, at what age, and then how did you move through that, and to what level did you attain?
I started to wrestle probably about 10 years old, and I wrestled for, if you can call it, 2 years, because it's not 2 years like now. I train the guys every day, full week, 9 practices a week. I train 3 times a week because the coach had to come from another city to coach us.
Mm.
So 3 times a week. So, but call it 2 years. And it, I quit. And I quit because I just didn't win any matches. I was weak, or they wrestle me with older athletes, much more prepared. I was not very good. I quit, and then we didn't have a coach for a while. I don't know, maybe it was close to a year. No coach in our little town in Bulgaria. Gurkovo is the name of the town that I. It's about 1 hour drive from the major city in the county, Stara Zagora. It's like a middle part of Bulgaria, where the sports school was there. There's a sports school there that offered training full time in Greco and freestyle and other sports. And the coach was coming from that city 3 times a week to train us, and we didn't get much training, but some kids are winning. I wasn't winning. Some kids from my town are winning. I wasn't winning, so I quit. I thought this is not a sport for me, until later another coach came, and he came to start the team again, and he found me on the street, and he said, Ivan, I heard you wrestle before, and I'm trying to put a team together. Would you like to come? I'd like to invite you to come with us to compete. And I told him, well, I'm not that good. I thank you, but I'm not that good, and I don't know how well I can do. But I respected the older man, this coach very very well, and I couldn't say no. I just because he asked me, I couldn't say no. And but he was prepared, and he said, you don't have to worry because the sports school kids will not be there. And that gave me a little courage, because back then you hear sports school, or you see on the back, back the name of the
Patch.
school. Yeah, you get a kid to wrestle, if you wrestle a kid from sports school, man, we were going running to the bathroom. We're so nervous,
Yeah.
We're
I hear
scared
you.
to wrestle those kids because they're trained well. Like they train every day. They have probably maybe 3 times a week, twice a day practices. They eat the government food, which is very important. Three meals a day. I didn't have 3 meals a day in my town. There's no way I'll eat 3 meals a day. Not because my parents are poor, but they're just busy working. And you grab something and you just, so it's not like a regular place. This place, these kids at the sports school, they have everything taken care of, including 3 meals a day and place to train, good coaches, nice gyms, equipment. So no way you're gonna beat them, um, unless you're some super athletic. But maybe at the first year after that, there's no way you can't. So that's why I started wrestling about about 12 years old. I joined the sports school because I won bronze medal at this tournament.
Okay.
And the funny part about that was I didn't beat anybody. I didn't. They either made a mistake. I didn't know. By today, I don't know what happened. Maybe I think we're more than three. I believe because I believe we're more than three people. I don't know. I lost 2 matches, and there's no way I supposed to win a medal. But they called my name. I was just almost praying for that medal. Like I want to win one bronze medal. I never thought about gold or silver. I said I want to win one bronze medal. And I wish I could show you the medal. Is in my office. I'm in my home office right now. I have it in my office. That medal is a little medal. It's a bronze medal that it's the most valuable medal for me. And because of that medal, actually, I got so excited. And later, when the coach asked me to join the sports school, I really wanted to go now because of that inspiration. I was about to beat one kid. I was beating him 6-0, and then he pinned me. And but I feel I can be good now. The funny part was my dad asked me how many kids I beat, and I told him I didn't beat anybody. And he said, so why did you get this medal? And I was really embarrassed, and that's the other reason I wanted to show my dad that I can be good and I can win I can win a real medal. And once I joined the sports school, few months later, I was winning a real medals.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you and this was your 12, 13, 14 at this point?
Yes, I joined, 12 years old, the sports school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
awesome, man.
remember
So
because, well, I had to go through the obstacles. I wasn't just like, oh, you go there and you're accepted. No, I had to go through the obstacles. And I was 12 years old. I remember I did 12 pull-ups.
impressive. Yeah.
And now I remember this and asking the kids that come to our club, how old are you? Can you do 12 pull-ups or 11? Or can you do 11 pull-ups? "Oh, I don't know. I do only 6. Oh, you got to work on it." So, I remember this, but um, I had to go through obstacles, not only pull-ups. They give us a list of exercises to do. Pull-ups was one of it. I remember a squat with a partner, a back bridge. They check your The coach that accepted me in the sports school checked your flexibility. We run 60-meter dash, 1,000 meter, jump from spot, or throwing a ball in a target, push-ups. I remember push-ups. I did 40 and they stopped me. Squat with partners. I remember I did 36. The kid about the same weight, and they asked us to wrestle about 2 minutes match. That's it.
Wow.
Maybe I miss maybe one or two of other obstacles, but it wasn't just like, oh, here you go. You can, or your dad has money or anything. There's no money here. There's nothing. You accept it in a sports school. And my mother was there with me, and my mother asked the coach, when do we know if he is going to be accepted in the school or not? And the coach said, well, in 2 weeks you go to the school, and at the whatever floor is at the lobby, you'll find a list, and if he's not on that list, he's not accepted. If he's on the list, he's in.
You were
That's
in.
how, and I was in. Yes, and I'm still here because of that
Oh,
little medal. I wish I
that
I wish I could bring it here. It's a little metal that it's not rusty, but it's not the most beautiful metals that you've seen.
well, send me a picture of that medal, man, and I'll put it up in the episode so people can see it.
I will send you that, no problem. Yes.
I'm gonna write that down so we have it. But yeah, um, tell me this: as you, so you're still a young man at this point, and you join this school, and then how far did that take you? Did that take you clear through your high school years?
Yes. I was in that sports school until I graduated from high school. 18 years old, actually. I had to join the army, 19.
Okay. And then did you do anything? Because wrestling has, there's only a few avenues really after school, right? You can go to college, you can be a college wrestler, at least in the US, right? And then you either go for a national team or you're kind of, there's, it kind of ends, right? It's a
Yes.
tough one. You become a coach is what you do generally. So what path did you take through that?
Well, Bulgaria is a slightly different system back then. Now it's a little bit different, but back then it was obligation. You had to go to the army. And I was able to, from the high school already, to obtain um, education to be to have it's a technical college in the high school, so we already had some profession. My profession was a mechanic mechanic and I got a license for a truck driving, which America now it's nothing. Here for us is you got to have truck driving, or car is different.
Okay.
So we had to study more for truck. So I had just that diploma in case something happened. I never wanted to work this job. My whole idea was just to make, I don't know, just wanted to wrestle and make living and join the Center Army Sports Club. This is the best place we had. It's the best athletics were there in Bulgaria. Everybody wanted to go with one of these um, organizations to serve, either army, which is the army, which that's where I went, or the police academy, where they also offer through your service um, duty of the service. They also offer you a club that you can get paid to compete, and we all were like uh, trained for to be a wrestling instructor, so we can become a coaches basically in wrestling. That's how it was structured back then. Or you can become in my organization. I want to show you even my military passport. Now you're talking. I think you'll be interested to see this. People will see it.
Okay.
I'm with uniform, and I had hair on my head and had couple bolts. I was a lieutenant back then, and I would be by now a major or colonel from the reserves in Bulgaria, and we were all taken care of. That was the military was very very well taken care of. To be an athlete under Central Army Sports Club. That's where I was in Sofia, the capital. It was a privilege. The best elite athletes were there, and the duty was mostly after the what do you call this, the swearing ceremony, which is
Okay.
only like a month and a half. We study this, we train for that, and then after that, we pretty much doing athletics. We just train, and we had in our unit they were all like we call it heavy athletics, wrestling, both styles, sambo, judo, weightlifting, boxing, all these studs, the elite of Bulgaria, that the new generation. Some guys actually didn't even go at all to swearing. They were at the Olympic Games competing at young age. The weightlifters, for example, some guys didn't. They just like you see them there on the TV. They're they're supposed to be there with us, but because they're so good, they were excused not to go to the army. They were at the very high competitions, worlds, Olympics. So that's how it was back then.
And so then you go from this kind of military season of life, and then you move into the coaching role. And you said you coached an Olympic team. Is that what did you told me that off air? Is that did I catch that
Well,
right?
no, before I go to there, my personal accomplishments, I was I was national champion in juniors and national champion in esport, which I don't know if you know that they changed they changed it later, the terminology. It's all junior, but first the juniors we call it up to 18 years old and under, and later I won it as well up to 21 years old back then, which they call it esport. Like now it's juniors or U20, U20 or U23. There's no U21 anymore. It's U20. They just finished with the U23 World Championships. Actually, it's still going today. I want to check on some results today. Yeah, it's in Novi Sad, um, Serbia. Anyway, that um, my accomplishments back then were national champion. I won the international prestigious tournament. Call it Druzhba. It's only Eastern Bloc countries. Was very competitive. I won that in the Soviet Union back then, and I was outstanding wrestler as an international outstanding international wrestler for. They gave me an award for the best technique. I beat my guys pretty good at that time, and all of these accomplishments qualified me to be recruited at the Central Army Sports Club, CSK, I call it abbreviated in Bulgaria, CSK Sofia. It was an amazing wrestling program because we had world champions, European champions, we had Olympic champion, in our team, and they're all active. And to train with these people was an honor for me. Get some to
Yeah.
learn, somebody to learn from. Just being with these people was amazing, and we're still friends with those who are alive, still, and we, yes, we're good, great memories. So I I was recruited because of my accomplishments, and later during my service, and I had 2 years, I had injuries. Right after I came back from this tournament in Soviet Union, I had an injury, a basic meniscus, but back then in Bulgaria, the the medicals is not good quality. My surgery I had infection in my surgery, so I had to spend month and a half in the hospital dealing with the infection, and then had to recover. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to win the nationals to secure him. I was a national champion before, but the coaches are looking, what do you do this year? How are you doing this year? And I was able to prepare myself with minimum of limited time, and I still won the nationals at esport, which is I had to wrestle with older athletes, and then I joined. I was recruited in the army, and then my other leg, same problem, meniscus.
Mm.
But I was lucky. They didn't. Took care of me very well. Didn't have infection or anything. Just a recovery. But it's still a cut. Not like now these days. A scope in 2 weeks. You're moving. You're doing things. For me, I was with crutches for a month. Old
Yeah.
school. I big cuts on my knee, and this is how they did it back then. But anyway, these 2 years um, affected my training process, and I had to change weight, and it was very challenging for me to get back to be the top guy. And I changed the senior level from juniors to seniors, and took me a couple of years, and then eventually in 1991 I was the number one guy in Bulgaria. I wrestled at the World Championships as a, how do you call it? A rookie? Rookie, you call it when you first time, right? I was
Yep.
rookie. Nobody knew me, but I almost go in the finals.
Wow.
And the round robin, I don't know if you remember the round robin system.
Yep.
So we were a group of three people at the last. Korea, Turkey, and me. I beat Turkey, but I lost from Korean guy, and Turkish guy beat the Korean. So now one of us, we have all three losses. So I was the luckiest guy who goes for fifth and sixth. The Turkish guy who I beat, he went for in the finals, and the Korean went for third and fourth.
Wow.
So yeah, that I wrestled with the Japanese, and I lost. I lost close match, and end up sixth in the world. My first world championships with this round robin. But
It's
I
amazing,
qualified.
man. This is from a when you quit at 10 years old because you weren't winning, and now you're world champion. In that level and that caliber.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What took a lot of hard work. I mean, I was one of the best juniors even in the world for my age before I tore my meniscus and go through this process with suffering all this infection, all this stuff. So at that time, yeah, it's amazing how things can change. I didn't see myself as a skill athlete. Even my coach didn't see me the first year as some kid to grab his eye. He was looking at these kids who have broad shoulders, more athleticism. I wasn't of any of these kids, but I was but I was very coachable and humble, and I didn't care to get bullied, because in Bulgaria, that's something that I want people to know. There's a lot of bullying when you go to a sports school. It's just like your parents send you to another place, and you're totally on your own. You live in the dormitories with kids they're bigger, older kids. They can bully you. When I say bully you, they can make you massage them, all night until they fall asleep. They can have you go bring me water. In the cafeteria, bring him a food, with a tripod, right? What do you call it? With a tray
Trey.
with a tray. You bring them a food, and they say, "Bring me a water." They call you rabbits. Those are funny, stupid things, and you're like somebody's slave. It's a bad thing. I hate, just talking about this right now. I'm getting really emotional about this, and anyway, I had to deal with all of this stuff, and I want people to know it was. Yeah, it was a tough life back then, but I was able to survive with everything.
Yvonne, is this now you had mentioned Greco Roman wrestling before. Is this the version of wrestling you're doing
Yes, Greco-Roman
at that
wrestling.
time? All right, you sweaty buggers. That liquid dripping off your forehead and down your back contains minerals that are critical for high performance. If you don't put those minerals back, you're not going to perform well. This is where Salty Electrolytes comes in. Salt contains 6 electrolyte minerals plus a touch of iodine to help you replenish after a hard workout. Salt is the only electrolyte supplement to pair every mineral with its counterpart, giving you the most robust mineral profile on the market, period. Head over to goearnyoursalt.com today to get some for yourself. Use the code Go Earn Your Salt to get 15% off your first order. And now, my friends, go earn your salt. At that
Wrestling.
time. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, explain just so the audience knows the difference, because we all just think of wrestling, and a lot of people think of like, American professional wrestling. It's not that at all. It's more like Olympic wrestling but Greco Roman is all upper body, right? There's no leg shots or leg takedowns at all. Am I correct?
Greco Roman wrestling is all upper body. You can grab legs. We use our legs in some blocking, but they're legal blocks. Like our legs touch, nobody's gonna go and pull a device to check the pressure, But we use
Yeah.
legs. If we use our legs as much as the rules allow us to use our legs, we do but we don't trip. We don't do like a hooks to take you down. That's illegal, So that's kind of how I can explain it.
Yeah. Yeah, we have I remember back in I don't know what years it was, but the Rulon Gardner, you remember that match in the
I
Olympics
remember.
when
Yes, I
against
remember. I know Rula.
what was the
Yes,
other guy's name?
Alexander
Alexander
Karelin.
Karelin.
Alexander
Scariest human
Karelin.
being I've ever seen. And
Very, very skilled athlete, and this is what Rulon is a hero. I know him personally. I know how tough he is, and but it was still not too many people believe that Rulon can do that, and he showed a big heart and really was able to surprise everybody and prove that he can do it.
yeah.
And he did it. He beat Karelin.
No,
Amazing.
that's such a tough sport, man, because it's such a different version. Every time you have a rule set change, it changes how people move and how things work. And we're going to talk about that a little later, about this machine that your partner Talon invented to deal with a very specific Greco-Roman style. Um, Again, we'll get to that in a little bit. I have some more questions in the meantime, but as you're going through this wrestling career, what eventually inspired Suples as a company? What kind of got those wheels turning for you, and what made that happen?
Well, just to get back a little bit on my story of my personal success, I was able to climb to with all my challenges that I had with my injuries. I was able to climb to second, being second in the world in 1994. I was world silver medalist in Tampere, Finland, and then later I had another injury in my knee 20 days before I tore MCL, and I had to compete in Atlanta Olympics with MCL, torn MCL. So I finished fifth with the injury, finished fifth, and pretty much that's was the end of my career. And but before that, I was coming to America to train with one of the best American wrestlers, Dennis Hall, who later we won medals. He also finished third at the World Championships in Tampere, where I finished second. And next year, Dennis won the World Championships in Prague and became world champion. And later, Dennis won a silver medal from Atlanta Olympic Games, and we developed friendship. And many people, because of me being in America, they got to know me. I got to know them, and I was invited later from Steve Frazier. Actually, Mike Hoke, the first USA Greco-Roman World Champion, invited me to uh, visit the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs and join a camp with the local residents, the athletes who are training there full time. And Mike Hoke is it's a great man. He's a first world champion, and but he had to move to another job after that, and we didn't have much time to work. to visit again with him. He passed the national coaching position to Steve Frazier, who was also the very first USA wrestling Greco Roman wrestling Olympic champion. He won the Olympic Games in Los Angeles in 1984. Steve Frazier. So Steve Frazier brought me actually to America just to participate at the camp and be a clinician at one of his national camps in 1997, and that's where the interest about coming to America and do more and to help Greco. That's where I started. That was started in that camp. They call it a January camp in '97, and later I came back to train with another athlete and visit the training center again, and that's where we we started to talk about me staying there and help Greco. And I basically had to start a new chapter in my life coaching and not think about wrestling anymore because it was at my uh, close to 30 with the injury that was not healing very well. A lot of uncertainty in Bulgaria. Also, I didn't know if we can get funds to train at all. Was kind of like not really sure what we're gonna do. And uh, then I started my coaching journey here in the United States. And
Well,
your question about the Suples, the ideas about the equipment, is that what you wanted to talk about?
yeah, before we go to that though, you just mentioned something I'm really curious. Partly because I'm kind of asking advice here, okay? As you switched from the athlete role and started dealing with injuries and you're kind of getting older for the sport and you switched to this coaching role, how did that affect you just personally? How'd you deal with the ego part of that? Kind of realizing that, man, the clock's ticking and I'm kind of having to move to this other role. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely, it was very difficult, very very difficult. I didn't share this with many people. Half of me wanted to wrestle, and half of me was telling me, "Look, you be realistic with your goal. What do you want to do? You have a great opportunity to coach here, or if you want to wrestle, you have to go back to Bulgaria and train there because it's going to be difficult training in America and go and compete in Bulgaria. Also, your injuries, also your age." And I decided I'm gonna be realistic with myself. Even I start feeling good and healthy, I had to move up a weight class. So all of these, a lot of things. So it was a tough time for me. And at that time, I received an offer to coach in Salt Lake City and start with a youth club. And and it was right before Sydney Olympics, and I still was dealing with this. I got a full-time job and I was still dealing. I was working out, running in the mountains. The kids were too young for me to wrestle. I roll around with them. I was just like getting ready for this, getting ready. Anytime I feel like I still wanted to compete, but I didn't tell anybody. And the owner of the club, Jay Jones, maybe he sensed something and he told me one day, he said, Yvonne, do you want to go to the Olympics and give it a shot? And I said, no, I don't want. I wasn't honest with him. I because I didn't want to tell him that. This was I was uncertain. And the guy said, if you want this, think about it. If you want, I will be happy to help you with this, to support you with the training, like financially to make things for me so I have an opportunity to train. He said this will be great for our club. Now, I didn't tell him that. Later, I told him, hey, you asked me. I wasn't honest with you. Because I wasn't sure. I didn't want to give you my word and not follow. But here's what I did to show you how this affected me. And I'm sure other athletes are dealing with this,
Mm.
like me. Because it's not very easy to quit doing everything, all your dreams, everything. I didn't accomplish my goals. I got to second in the world. I beat all these top three guys at the Olympics. The Olympic champion, I beat him at the Worlds. Now he won Atlanta. The second guy, I beat him at the World Championships as well. Now he beat me, the Cuban guy. The number three guy, I beat the first match at the Olympics. He went to the other pool and until third place, nobody beat him. So I beat these top three. I just couldn't beat him at the same time. So you can imagine how I feel about this. So I went back to Bulgaria. Guess what? I haven't visited my country for 2 years. I went to see my parents. I get on my car and I'm going to the camp where the national team at the high elevation. They had a camp in this place. They call it Belmacan. It's a training center up in the mountains, like 2,000 meters above. They had a camp there, so I went there just to train, and I did a couple of days camp, and then we had matches on one day, and I went. They paired me with. They had competition matches, and my right elbow locked. I had bone chips inside,
Oh
cartilage.
no.
So see my arm. I can't. This
Oh,
is my
that's it.
mark, and see that's my mark. Sometime when I do Bulgarian back, I can't snatch. Oh, see how he's bent. And I teach guys, arm straight. But nobody told me, well, how come your arm is not straight? I would say, well, I would have tell them, but they didn't pay attention. Like nobody asked me actually why my arm is not straight. My right arm is not straight. That's
Wow.
it. I fix it later. So my arm after that match, it just swelled and I couldn't move it. It locked. And I said, way, I don't have time to go and surgery and recover and then to qualify they already had another guy and so and so. I said that's it, that camp I already was certain. I got my answer. I had peace in my heart. Finish. Focus on your life, focus on your coaching. There will be other opportunities in life. You just have to work hard, and that's it. That burden was out of my head. So that's how I deal with this. I focus on coaching.
Yeah, that's a tough thing, man. I know I'm kind of realizing, as I told you, I'm a grappler too, right? It's a different sport in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I'm coming to that place where, I'm 49 years old here in a couple months, and I'm realizing that the athletic part of my world is passing, right? And so now moving more into that coaching role, and it's a little emotional for me. I totally get it. And that's why I'm asking you about it, because I'm kind of walking in those shoes a bit right now.
Well, the good thing about what I did, my best decision was like I was realistic. I knew I knew how to study myself. I was pushing really hard and my body was not recovering as well. So I was that's something good that I did. I was able to evaluate my current condition and compare it with when I was a stud, when I was cutting weight and I was recovering faster. And it's completely different person after, when you come to 30s. And I was cutting pretty good at the last 2 years of my career, over 20 some pounds. And that
Wow.
that beats your body, and that's all of these things happening. Some people cannot do the fair evaluation, and they keep being naive, keep going, and then they get behind in their life because wrestling is not very thankful sport unless what I mean I was thankful. I won some prizes, some tournaments, some the world medal helped me to establish myself. I wasn't on the street. I had two homes in Bulgaria, paid in the capital, and I was doing fine for myself financially, just for myself. I didn't have family, anything, but I cannot stay, and had to be realistic. Has to start thinking about other opportunities, what to do, how my future is going to be, and not not just keep going and resting until I'm 35 or whatever, and then completely now lost, So,
Sure.
and look, I still found my passion. I was competing through my athletes. I'm still doing this. Maybe
Yes.
that was the reason I had a success in wrestling as a coach, because I think that hunger, I still am hungry. I'm still competing through my athletes. We're partners. So I told my athletes, we're partners. If we're not partners, I'm not here. I have to give you my time. You have to give me, being a coachable and being disciplined and if we have this, we're having a good partnership, and I can keep going. And that's why I'm here for. Now I don't need to coach, but I coach for those kids who really, I'm coaching performance. The wrestling
Yeah.
club, I said it's Suples is a result oriented program, which now I have activity. I have three coaches. They coach kids we don't know. We don't know where they're going to be. Some have different goals. We coach fitness, we coach just strong bodies first, and then we see which kids will follow. Not everybody is born to be a wrestler, right? But but my position in my club, I am general manager of my club, and I have three coaches who are coaching at different level. I coach only Greco right now, mostly, and I coach the coaches how to coach other styles, our super style. That's my position. I have opportunity to choose my position, but I'm coaching performance.
Yeah. So now this is where Suples comes in, and you start this company. What inspired it, man? What did you feel like? What need in the market wasn't being met that you needed to meet?
Oh, was not thinking about market at all. I was thinking about first what is going to be my style of coaching when I started, and that's something that I I feel I did better than some other coaches. I'll explain. I started to my coaching journey from the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, working with the elite athletes with the national team. Now, being in that at that place, everybody is hungry to be at that to get that job, the big job, to work with the senior guys.
Mhm.
For me, that was not very interesting. I was there mostly as a training partner. I even pummeled with Roland Gardner, the guy who, sometime I had to fill. I was a 62 kilo guy, but my weight was moving later up. Let's say I was 72 kilos when I pummeled with Roland. It was only a few practices that I had no partner, so I pummeled with Roland. I'm just to tell you, I was mostly training with the lower weights, but with just about anybody. But I realized that if I really want to study coaching and be successful, I have to start from the grassroots, to study right from the kids and work my way up. And my dear friend Steve Frazier, who was the national coach, he advised me, Ivan, study the American system, because many foreign people get very frustrated here. The first thing they want to do is, how can they change America to Russia or to some other country, right? Turkey or whatever. Foreign guys are coming all the time, and they all want to change. I wanted to change it too when I first came. So this is crazy here. They wrestle three styles, and how can you compete with other guys? I never seen anything like that. But Steve told me, study. This is different. Study first, and then you find a way. And that's what I did. And I started to study. I took that job with the youth in Salt Lake City, and I had success. The first nationals weren't there with 5 kids. We came back with four national titles from Fargo. Fargo is a big event. It's the biggest in the country. I got fired up, that I can be effective. This is where I want to be, and I started to educate myself and to identify what style I need to study to, so I understand, and that so I understand how to in America, I use this terminology. Maybe you use it too. How to skin my cat in coaching. Have you heard that?
Yes. Yeah.
I said, how do you skin the cat? Okay, how do you understand your own your own training coaching process? That's what I mean, and that's where the idea about the dummy came. I didn't think coming to sell dummies. I knew that my style must have a body lock throw. There's no way. Back arch, back step, back arch throws, gut wrenches, strength and conditioning under my control. And that's why it came up and invented the Suples dummy, invented the Bulgarian back because serves to my purposes of training, my needs. And people saw it, and then I later I said I have to develop business. The Hertz rope came. The Hertz, everybody thinks they understand elastic bands. They do curls and now they copy my exercises. A company who are strong marketers. I see them copying my exercises, but their athletes don't know why they're doing it. They don't know why they're doing it because, and I can tell it, we're laughing. All people who train through me, they're smiling, say they know they're using your stuff, they mimic, but they have no idea. They just they're getting themselves tired. See, that's the different what Ivan is doing. I'm just not having my equipment to get you tired. No, I have to train you in your skill, in your style. Like see the Suples power dummies. I use those dummies for building specific power. You tell me what exercise or what machine can help you build that power. Cannot be bench press and barbell for sure. Cannot be.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that dummy, it has to be heavy, right? So you can use more load towards that specific movement, So the speed dummy, for example, is designed for multiple repetitions to have you master the and fine tune the technique for, so you can put a lot of repetitions, speed, and you build your conditioning too. But you gotta put more reps. The power dummy is heavy. You cannot do that much. That's why I
Mm.
changed. I made the lighter dummy, and then I have another one, a Tucker. I don't know if you've seen these dummies hanging on the wall. They're halves. I'm not even selling much
I
of
haven't.
those because it takes time to educate people. They cannot. They don't get it how convenient it is. Now you have your equipment and you're making a factory of teaching skills. So let's say you put like 3 kids or 6 kids on the attacker dummies to do back steps, back steps, back steps, and then you have another 6 kids on the speed dummies doing the whole throw, the whole entire throw, and then you have another 6 kids on the power dummies, 12 dummies you have, and then another 18 dummies, and you're rocking. Kids are, but this is just my warm up. There's no running around. There's no stretching, which is no front throws, no cartwheels. Directly on the dummies, teaching skills because we're coaching 3 styles, guys. I have no
Yes.
time. I'm a good coach, but I don't have time. I'm not a remote control guy. You gotta be here. Do you see? You see how my mind was working? How the
Hmm.
equipment was helping my process. And then the Bulgarian back, even we're doing mechanics where I'm asking the kids to throw arm throw, not to get tired, just to watch their legs, their head position. I can show you the
Yeah.
Bulgarian
Show
back.
us. Show us the Bulgarian bag. You got one right there.
Here's
See
the
that?
back. See this? Now, when you look the back here, see this? I don't care if I have arm or a back. From here, I'm gonna throw you, or if I call your head, but I'm watching the leg positions. You see, I'm
Yes.
coming from I'm coming from Indiana. I just came back on Sunday, and I went there to their coaching clinic. There were 150 coaches, and I had to share it with them. I said, guys, there's a what I see here in America. We do a lot of clinical coaching. And I know without being in your gym, it's the same clinical coaching. Someone's going to go show you a move and show you, and good luck. 1, 2, 3, go try it. No way. I show the move. I say, this is where we need to go, but this is where we need to start. And you gotta spend time. Otherwise, it's a clinic, good money, it's okay, and few people pick it up, but effectiveness, until you totally understand the process, how to break it down and train progressions and have specific drills that can continue keeping you on task, is going to be very difficult for these athletes to master this technique. And that's why tools sometimes and drills and so many components are important for the whole process to develop athlete who is going to hit that move without thinking, you know. So anyway, sharing a little bit of my 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 coaching methods with you.
Well, that's exactly what I was getting at there, Yvonne, is you have I always say this when I'm teaching students in jujitsu. I say the teaching art is very different than the tactical art of the grappling we do, right? I can be a very good jujitsu practitioner, but still be a terrible coach because I can't explain how to do anything. I can't explain the movement that it takes. And so it's a separate art form to learn. And that's what it sounds to me like you've really gone down that path and put a lot of thought into what makes the mechanics of the moves, right? It's not just I can show you this thing once or twice and you get it down. No, you've got a full body mechanics, you got muscles you have to recruit that, and you're finding other ways to make this happen. And it's fascinating to me to, seeing the tools you've come up with. Talk about when we were in Salt Lake, I saw a whole bunch of stuff you had out there at your booth. And then you had an area where you had some, they almost looked like, I don't know how to describe it, almost like a balance beam almost, but they were these padded things you guys were doing
Yes, like a
different movements
road
on.
track, like a path. We call it a path. If you walk, it's a path like this. I actually have it downstairs in my home too. I slammed the ball. Absolutely, I can. This is amazing because the reason I invented this thing. It's a long story, but I'm gonna go straight to the idea what made me develop this. I was looking for. Have you seen these balls that we slam?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
was looking for a foam that can help me with few things. First, number one, develop more resistance for the slam, for the bounce. So when you hit it, it sinks kind of, it bounces back slowly, so you can enforce more power. So I can crank my athletes and push them harder when they slamming, because if the ball is slam on the like a 1.5 inch mat, it's bouncing fast and you don't get as much training. And also you can save the ball if you slam it on the softer surface, can have a longer life for your ball. Not that it's going to break on the 1.5 inch mat, but it's not very good for the ball either. And it's not good for the training. For the beginning, just to learn how to slam it, it's okay. But then you need a thicker foam. And that was my idea first, until I start getting more of these cubes. And I said, man, if I connect this, then I can do jump and slam and all different slam variants, but all to surf on the ball for conditioning. When you perform the slam in wrestling, we level change. You level change. You squat basically, half squat, 90, and you start doing this faster. Imagine what's happening to your quads and your glutes, and your legs get pumped right away. Plus the snap down that we do here, that's very, very similar movement. Then you can be more creative. You can do duck under slams on the regular mats and just visualize something that helps you to be stronger and conditioning your skill. It's all about the skill. See, this is very difficult, and I don't want to offend the strength conditioning coaches, but sorry, guys, until you wrestle, there's no way you're going to be creative in that area. Many people, I'm gonna say something else that you probably want to hear this. When I ask people, where do you see me being effective? And some people who work closely with me, but they didn't know me, they say, wow, you have a lot of equipment all of these. I said, I had results without the equipment. What do you say? Ah, yeah. Well, you want me to, and I asked him and they couldn't answer why I'm effective. And I tell you, okay, you gave up. I'll tell you where I'm effective. I have a very good understanding about my techniques that I teach. Period. Nobody,
Yes.
nobody can argue this. If you don't have a good understanding on the techniques, on the technical process, good luck. I'm gonna make one clip and make a big pile in my gym with all my equipment. I say, guys, you can have all of these. Let's see. Let's see how you're gonna make it without the education, without the you gotta understand first the technique. Don't buy this stuff if you are thinking, like just to do a few reps with these bags and they're gonna help you. You have to know how and what you're looking to do, the purpose of your training, what's priority. If you're just trying to get yourself tired, get your back and spin, get yourself tired, or slam the ball, that's okay too. That's for my fitness friends. But how can you come up with an exercise that is so specific for the skill that you train? What do you mean the skill? The body lock or the throw that I do or off balance, any motion, any snap down. I'm serving my own skill. I advise my
Yeah.
coaches or who else buying this equipment and say, okay, how can this help my style of coaching? Because I don't teach these techniques that Ivan teaches. I'm a freestyle guy. I want to put priority on shots. So then my advice would be find something that this back or this dummy does for you. And if does, buy it. If not, don't waste your time. You go do something else, or find another exercise, another tool. I hope this was interesting for you to hear.
Business owners, I want to talk to you for a second. Do you have a retail space inside your location? If so, I want you to think about something. Your customers are buying electrolytes. You know that, right? The problem is they're not buying them from you. Well, Salty Electrolytes can help fix that with their wholesale program. They can bring these sales to you in-house so that your customers get the electrolytes they love from the company they love, you. All you have to do is head over to goearnyourSalt.com and scroll to the bottom of the page and click Apply for Wholesale. Do it now before you forget. I know your type, I'm one of you. Once again, that's goearnyourSalt.com. The link is at the bottom of the homepage. There will also be a link in the description on this video. And now, my friends, go earn your salt. It's very interesting, man. I think it's so cool because like I said, this is the journey I'm on personally. So, I'm almost feeling a little bad for the audience if they're not as interested in this as I am. But what you're saying here is just resonating with me, man. It's putting these exercises together and these tools together that assist in a very practical movement, but multiple of them at the same time. You're talking about this bouncing ball and the shucking and the changing levels and the all the things that happen within a very quick succession in a wrestling match, and you've got it all in one tool because you've designed it to be very effective for this training. And it takes so much thought to do that to me it's mind-boggling that you've put this together. And it's not just with one product. You've done it with the balls you bounce. You've done it with the Bulgarian bag. You've done it with this track system. Talon even did it with tell me what that tool's called again that Talon invented.
Spartan bar.
Spartan bar.
Yes, for the gut wrench defense and wrestling and core strength. There's many things people can look for it. But another reason that I was so motivated, so fascinating to come up with training tools, because remember, I don't know if I told you, but I'm a group coach. I just my job. I don't even have a club now, and people are asking me if I do private. I can, but I don't because I'm on many different fields in my company. I don't do privates. Many people think my son Ivan. I know I don't know if you know I have a son that he's two-time national champion in Greco
I
the last
did
2 years.
not know that. Yeah.
Many people think that I train Ivan one-on-one. No, Ivan trains with my team. So my equipment have to be very effective in my team training. So this track that you're talking about, I call it Path of Glory. By the way, do you like the name?
Yeah,
Path of
Path of
Glory.
Glory
Path of Glory
sounds
for
amazing, man.
athleticism. Not, not religion thing. It's a good religion, but I'm talking athletics. I'm thinking athletics, Path of Glory. Everybody wants to go. It's a catchy name. I love it. Suples Path of Glory. This tool, I was thinking about slamming with the ball and all this stuff later. Man, this is amazing for agility training. You watch some videos, you see how I keep, or my coaches are keeping these athletes on track. It's proven. I just have a different tool that later when we do the agility, we can add the balls and keep cranking them even harder. But this path of glory, we train almost toddlers, kids that 3 years old. Is it toddler? 4? Is it toddler? Consider yes,
Yeah. Toddler's the word. Yep.
toddler. Daycare kids because they walking like a bears, like a giraffe, and they stay on the path of glory. They jump and it's safe. But we crank the 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Even the world class athletes, they need variety. That's the next thing I want to talk about. Suples equipment and my knowledge how to structure different varieties of workouts and avoid the monotony help me not to have burnout athletes. This is so important. And I also understand the periodization because I train guys 9 practices per week all year around. You tell me if you have the same old, how you gonna get? Oh, he's burned out. Of course, it's burnout. It's not your problem. It's the coach's problem.
You
He
got it.
coach burned him out, or his dad burned him out because his dad doesn't know how to stop pushing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's doing, and then the kid quit because the dad burned him out. Of course, it's the same old. This is a big process, guys. It's so important. There's no burnout athlete from Coach Ivanov. No way. Because the different varieties, but I never changed the purpose of my training. The purpose stays the same, but you show them different exercise, different intensity, different period of time. This is for performance. It's so important to have this knowledge.
It's beautiful, man, because you've obviously put a ton of thought and a ton of time studying not just how to work out, but how to coach, how to this idea that you're talking about variety in the training and not burning athletes out with just a same old routine all the time is this is cool stuff, man. I love to hear it. I
Very
love to hear
interesting.
it.
I know
Yeah.
because I know more about you and your system even without being in other combat sports in jiu-jitsu a little bit, but I know the system in the United States. Now I discovered Suples because I needed to perform world-class results. I've been here, Ivan, you gotta have. We need Steve Fraser, my friend, told me I'm expecting world medalists from you. Well, how did you do that? In Bulgaria, nobody wrestled Greco after only Greco after 18 years old. This is unheard of. Nobody's doing it in Russia. Nobody's doing it in Iran. Nobody. And I had to they expecting from me to make world-class results. What do I do? And I didn't give up. I said no. I didn't say no. I said, let me see what I can do. I did it. I even have the title is world medals from my little club in Boise that, in Boise we have 2 million people with the cows here. I have no time and I don't turn anybody. Anybody who come welcome. Let's see what we can do. I cannot promise I can make a world-class wrestler from all of them, but I promise one thing. I'm going to make a huge progress with that kid if he follows.
Love it,
And
man.
parents have to follow because You know what? I have 3 practices per week. It starts 5:45 in the morning till 7, 3 times a week, and they have to come in the evening, afternoon actually, with me, or evening, 3 to 5, or 6 to 8. So, and with me, there's no entertainment. There's no here activity. It's a pushing and cranking, and it's a hard work. Or if it's instructional, you gotta be focused. You gotta be with me. You can't go and just lay down on mat. Just to get up in the morning, you're already 1 point ahead of your opponent. But these kids have to get up 30, 40 minutes to drive. I'm getting up at 4:45 3 times a week. Take tomorrow, I have a practice. I gotta get up 4:45. I'm up. I'm there 15 minutes before everybody. Open the gym, get everything ready. So, it's not easy, but
Right.
so that's how I work. I'm not hiding anything. This is
Well, Yvonne, what year? When did you start Suples as an actual company?
2004.
2004. Okay.
I registered it. Yes, the registration was made in 2004. I was still at the Olympic Training Center in Michigan. I had a small website, register, and yeah, it's actually, yeah, just see the registration
Yeah.
sign. It's, yeah, LTD. That's how I was showing it again. But it was just a part time for me. It was just for someone who knows me, and I thought, well, let's have a website and have some information and post some videos what I do with this. It was nothing. I had a full-time job back then. But when I moved to Boise, and we lost the funding of this program here, and I just didn't have anything else to do, and focus on Suples.
So what does that look like as you when you started that as a business entity? What did you do as far as growing the company? Where did you go first as far as customer base goes?
First, I had to see and get to know who is my ideal client, someone who really I want to focus to serve. And I knew one thing, that you don't study Suples by just buying it and go do whatever you want, because just like a normal fitness tool that you see on the internet, on TV, they sell some little things. I don't know why they say, "Oh, burn a lot of calories." Yeah, you can, but it's annoying. Most of the people
Yeah.
use it for a few times, put it on the bed. I knew they could do the same with the Bulgarian bag. So very soon I understood that Suples works with education. So I must provide some training tools, at least basic video, what to do with this. People have some ideas so they can copy. I started, don't understand me. I talked earlier about learning by copying, but that's how I started. But I, for results, I made a huge progress, because I go to Suples school every single day. I never stop going to school, and I'm upgrading. So that's what my strategy was. First, like, who is following me? These people need to get what they need to. And they were internationally, they were people mostly in fitness, not wrestling, international. In America, mostly wrestling coaches at first, but then started to, I my side and myself going around the world started to attract more people from, mostly from personal training industry or strength and conditioning. People who like functional strength
Yes.
training. Yes, exactly those people. So if you're talking with, I'm giving you an example. If you're talking to strength coaches or personal trainers and tell them, hey guys, do you know the Bulgarian bag? Do you know what the Bulgarian bag is? And they tell you that they don't know what the Bulgarian bag is. They never heard about the Bulgarian bag. You have the answer what level of instructors they are. See, that's my signature on the other side, so I can recognize
Yes.
my bag. They have some copycat bag
Bet they
these
do.
days.
I
They
bet they
do have,
do.
unfortunately, but these people, I thank him. I thank him very much because now they help me. Everybody knows who Suples is because of the Bulgarian bag, and now more people know the brand that I have. 5, 6 systems like this, just like this. They don't know it, but this was the easy tool to copy and take. People are, this is a brutal world, and I was just talking with some people today with my brother, because we know some companies in a fitness industry that we're partners with them, but we said, how did they even make it? Because they have the huge companies, but they can go down in a month because they fight the competition. And we're in business because we have innovations all the time. i
Sounds like
have
it.
I have another 7 systems, just like the Bulgarian back. And people now so Suples, because if you type Bulgarian back, they can't take this from me. It goes to Suples and they see my other things. So they help me. These dudes help me market. They help me become very famous in the world because they copy, my back, because everybody calls it Bulgarian back. If a Bulgarian send back, it goes back to Suples. Everybody knows who Ivan and Suples is. So thank you guys very much. You know what?
Hey,
So
this is such
the-
a cool outlook on that,
it's
man,
awesome.
because you,
It is awesome. You see, there is some justice because now they know this.
yes.
Yeah, I tell you something funny. We go to a big trade show in Germany. Big trade show. I take 13 people with me. And in Cologne, Germany. And we go to the next grocery store. I see Bulgarian bags for 28 euros. No, I mean, it doesn't say Bulgarian, it doesn't say Suples. They can't have that. But it's the same design as my bag. It's bad, bad quality. It's not a leather like this one. It's some rubbish vinyl stuff. But it's 28 euro, and I'm spending thousands of dollars to educate on in Cologne, Germany, the trade show that it brings about 130,000 people for four or
Wow.
5 days. Can you imagine that? We spending time. It's very. How do you think I felt about that? He just for me and my family. We're saying, what are we doing here? What? We showing here people this and there, and next grocery store is selling my back. Are you kidding me? It is like, oh. But then later, and after looking at the whole process, we're still in business, these dudes. Next year, I go to FIBO. I didn't go to booth, nothing. Like 2 years ago, I went there. Very few companies are selling Bulgarian bags because we're not, Suples is not there. We're not showing them what to do. And they slowly, they quit. So, anyway, I thought you like to hear that story.
I love it because you're talking about you're building a top quality product and you've got these other companies come in trying to with these knockoff versions that kind of look similar, but they're not built the same. And they don't have the rest of the educational backup behind them. And so it fizzles out for these companies that are doing it kind of halfway. But because you're all in and you're building a top quality product and you're adding the education component to it, the support that comes with that thing, yeah, you're still in business and they're not, right?
Exactly. Oh, so I didn't waste my time to I was just keep going and create more systems. Not many people know I have 3 patents on the Bulgarian back. I have another 2 models. 2 models. They didn't want to mess with copying those because hard to make. They don't understand what's the purpose. Doesn't make them money. They quit. No worries. I keep making for a purpose. because now my
Yes.
customers telling me I must change because the grip, because like, the different different needs for my customers. But anyway, so in other words, I'm sharing this because I know some people that are in my position will have the same challenges. They invent something, have a great idea, and someone wants to benefit from their idea. Guys, this is life. Just instead of sitting down and just worry about it, just keep going forward with being creative. Create your partners. Like, you are a partner now. You are express interest to me. I owe you, like, my respect, everything, to be on your show and talking. And I partner with many people who reach out to me. And that's the best. There'll be always people who are going to try to be sneaky. There'll be always people out there try to get to the top but cheating, and what they punish themselves. There's some way it comes back to them. I'm not worried about this. I keep going forward, and do what I know it's the right thing to do, and partner with people that I feel good about it. That's my advice.
You and I haven't talked about this, but 6 weeks after I opened my electrolyte company, another company made a very similar name. They spelled it one letter different, and they came to
Wow.
market and started buying ad space. And you know, now we get to see what happens with that when we're getting all these. There's so much confusion with it. The people will call us complaining about the other people's product, thinking that we're the service. We're going to do something about that product. And it's just a knockoff version, and it happened to us too. And so, I was talking to a man named Brandon McCatherine. He's a big name in the jiu-jitsu world, and he told me the same thing as you just said. He said, don't worry about those knockoffs, man. Just keep pressing, beat them in the market. And
Yes,
I hear it.
absolutely.
I love
Wow,
it.
I'm sorry to hear that. Wow. Even, because with in your industry, that it's a very competitive market. So your brand
For sure.
name matters big time. I learned this, but wow, just absolutely keep going forward and be the hammer. You know,
That's right. That's
that's the
right.
only
Just
way.
do it
This
better.
is, yeah.
We'll talk about this. You talked about the Spartan bar, and this was invented by a young man named Talon.
Talon Knox. Talon Knox
Yeah.
invented the Spartan bar. Amazing, amazing tool. Very simple tool. Not much complications. It's very durable, made out of steel, and allows you to train. I can start very basic because I train different level of kids here. Many kids cannot do regular push-ups. They either belly goes down, or they get their
Yes.
butt sticking out, and they just can't control that. The Spartan bar, that little um like the little height, little elevation that you have, and the grip allows the kids to learn how to stay straight. So that's the very basic thing I can recommend. Can be used for little kids for just basic push-ups. Then they start liking the rotations, then the knocking down. And if I want to be more specific about resting, because that's where I mostly use it for my performance training, for the gut defense, and that's where the idea came for the Spartan bar. I show him this exercise that we call it side to side push ups. We do it on the ground. It's a progression. And then the very tough one was when you do it between two stable benches and a barbell plate of 20 kilos on my back. So I go like this below the level. So your shoulders are like stretching here is gonna pop your shoulder almost. And I benefited from this because sometimes I stop guys with one arm. People say, "Ivan, hey, your arm is going to you're going to dislocate your shoulder." But I was fine because this area always I train very well. That's why I'm doing that with my athletes. So for that reason, when Talon shared that with me, I said, "Talon, this is a great idea. I must have this." And that's how we got it into our system first. so we can have it for our athletes. And then now we start selling it, and I'm making an upgrade in few months. I don't want to say it right now, but Talon and I made a great upgrade, and this upgrade will benefit not only wrestlers much, but also the people who like to train core. We have another addition. I don't want to share what
Okay.
it is yet.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that come out on the market. But one of my
Couple months
questions
we'll have
about
it.
that,
Yes.
Spartan bar is, so Talon comes up with this idea, you love it, you celebrate, you're excited about his idea, and you incorporate this thing into your company. Now, you guys, your partners on the level of just that product, or are you partners in the whole thing? How's that work?
We're just partner on the product, on the product, just the product. I help him
Yeah.
market it because, see, you got to show it. You got to have someone who actually is a name out there. People believe him. And, we talked earlier about that. I don't know if it was on video, but I told you, I don't just bring any equipment on my in my gym, in my store, or I've been asked to sell food and supplements and all this. I'm not in this market, and I'm very specific. If it doesn't fit into my system, I don't need it. And if I cannot provide education, I don't need it. It's not me. They can go find it for someone else. So the Spartan bar is is equipment where I'm helping Talon. Talon was a wrestler, but he had other business. They're successful manufacturers, still manufacture. They're doing a very high end product for, like, they don't have just any customer. They high end customers. These people are buying the wealthy homes. They buy from them fire pits and certain projects that very specific stuff. They're not on the one Spartan bar, but Talon's Talon is it's the inventor of it. And I want people to know, and I know it's by himself is going to be quite difficult. So I have a wrestling club. I have results. We use it all the time. It's not something like blah blah blah. Ivan is just talking to sell something. No, I have results, and let me show you how this helps that skill, the gut wrench defense. You gotta have. Doesn't matter what style you are. You gotta know how to defend here, how to use your. And you like, if I can defend, I can defend. I know the technique, but I'm strong here now, but right, my ribs and my hips are raw. So see, I
Yes.
know, but without conditioning my body properly, I can only stop some kids now. You get someone who is
Yep.
strong, I'm afraid to post, or afraid to he's gonna crush my ribs. So I have to be well
So,
conditioned.
so that the audience knows, a gut wrench in Greco-Roman is, your opponent does not want to get turned to his back, right? So he's laying flat down on the ground. And if you're the guy doing the gut wrench, you have your hands down around his waist with your arms underneath his belly, and you're trying to turn him just by twisting his guts, right? That's why they
Full
call it a gut
turn,
wrench. Yes.
full turn with your partner, with your opponent, earns 2 points.
There you go.
So that's very important position, because if you get it, it's very hard to defend that if you
Weak
have a
shoulders.
weak shoulder, especially weak ribs, or sometime from practice we're bleeding down on our hips, and even the ribs are bruised right here. We break ribs sometime, or we can hurt shoulders pretty bad. So
Yes.
these core muscles, the Spartan bar train core muscles, shoulders, chest, I mean everything. Glutes also, because depends on what position you are. You stay stiff. So it's all very, very beneficial. If I, again, be more specific, I'm talking wrestling right here for this particular
Yes.
position, gut wrench defense. It's very helpful tool.
Well, something you mentioned with that was that it's a product that complements your other products, and that's why you were willing to take it on, right? And willing to promote it.
Not exactly. No, sorry, I'll correct you. It does work well with other products, but mostly Remember, I said it earlier. When I started Suples, I had to identify who I am as a technician guy,
Correct.
and I choose techniques, and gut wrench is technique that I totally understand how to teach this. There are different variations, but I understand what it requires to have a successful gut wrench. And and when you teach technique, you also have to understand the counter techniques, the counter attacks for that technique, because every technique there is a counter always, right? The
Yes.
defense now comes here, the defense. So that's so important for me because it was part of my system. So to fine tune the product, so when I start teaching gut wrenches, I show you the move, but if you're so weak, like I said, I'm weak now, and if you get some strong guy, my son will smoke me probably. He's big and strong now. I teach him. We went on the mat the other day. He was gonna crush me. I said, I can't fight with you anymore because you're too strong for me now. I know the defense, but I can't. I can't. He lock one time, I'm done. So I'm afraid to post because he has. I'm afraid. I know that he can break that before I can post with someone here. I know. I feel by the muscle tone if I can stop this because I'm conditioned. So it helps me in my skill very much because when you think about developing a technique, at the end you have to think about which exercises can help me build more strength into that skill or that technique. It's the same thing.
Mhm.
That's the final thing because you teach first theory, show tie-ups, you're showing techniques, everything, but they're too soft. So
Yes.
so things are connected, and we're used to study by clinical, and very often we don't have time to explain that there's also a strength conditioning component attached to that to finalize, find just to master this skill, so you can do it on unskilled people or
Yes.
partner opponents.
No, I love it, man, because as you're talking about these things and you're talking about making sure that the vision you had for who you are and what you're doing, the system that you put together, that thing falls right into it. But there's all these other products that other people approached you about over the years that just don't belong with what you're doing. And as a businessman, staying focused is such an important thing and not getting off on some weird path of, some other market that's not related to what you're doing. You lose focus that way, and you're very smart that way, man. I'm really impressed. Hey, has all that talk about salty electrolytes made you wonder what all the fuss is about? Have you thought that maybe one day you'd like to try that stuff? Well, today's your lucky day because Salty Electrolytes is offering free samples to listeners of this podcast who have not yet tried this amazing electrolyte supplement. All you have to do is head on over to goearnyourSalt.com and use the code PODSAMPLE at checkout to receive your free sample kit. There will also be a link in the description of this podcast. And now, let's get back to the show.
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. I sell barbells and plates, very good quality barbell I make, and bumper plates that can be brought on the mat. I invested into this. You know how many people buy this? Zero. Zero
Really?
people. But I'm okay with this because I mean, not maybe I should correct myself, not zero, because people who know me, they want to have the same gym as me, they will buy the barbell that I have. But those only those people are only few people who will
Mhm.
buy the whole gym with me. I have another apparatus, like I call it, Suples frame, that has a squat rack, and I wanted my barbell to be branded Suples because matches well with my whole system. It's a Suples branded. It's not yellow color. I mean, I have some yellow. First was wrong order. They made colors for me, and it's fine. It's the same plate, but it doesn't match with the color, so it has to be Suples white, Suples black, Suples red. Colors. So it
Yes.
matches. looks good for the brand, and it's from the same company. But I didn't make these barbells to sell and compete with Rock Fitness. I have no chance. I'm not in that business. But they cannot compete with me because I have patent on my frame and my system with my stuff. They're not looking to compete, but I have to offer my barbells in my place. That for that reason I made these. Not, so that's not my top product. My top products are, the Bulgarian bag, the Suples dummies, the Suples wall, and accessories designed for the wall. That's the other, example I can give you. The wall is not like the typical gymnastic walls. My wall is completely upgraded with new accessories through the years that fit just for that wall. So
I'm gonna have to check that out because I don't know anything about the wall.
you gotta come to see our gym. Yeah, you have to. You will
Well,
know more about
I
it.
think I need to do that, man. We should do that as part of this, and I'll maybe it'd be cool to get some pictures of that and kind of show this gym you're talking about. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah,
Um,
awesome.
hey, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I have a question. It's business related, but I want you to talk about. I met your daughter. Is Magdalena? Is that her name?
Magdalena, yes.
Yeah, I met her at the FightCon event also. Great young lady. She really seemed to have her stuff together, and I wanted you to talk about working with family, man. And there's that can be challenging at times. You guys seem to have a really great relationship there, and she was really seemed to be knowledgeable about your products and what you guys were doing. But you've obviously spent some time with her and developing that over time. And how's that looked? The just the family dynamic in business.
This is a great question because a few things I was advised not to do in America, and and this is one of them. Don't do business with your wife. And I got my wife in the business, and so far, knock on wood, we had a great time together because we did a lot of trips together. We educated together. My wife is also a former gymnast and a black belt in judo. She's switching judo, and now she's a suplex instructor and advisor, and she helps me in many, many ways in the business. And we had to travel and deliver seminars, courses together. She was my assistant.
Mhm.
And definitely for us so far is working well. My daughter, at first, I had to twist her arms to come to my courses when she was about 13. She didn't want to come to the Bulgarian back course. And I said, now it's
I
time to
bet.
study this. She, Dad, I don't want to do it. I don't want to stay here. She was a gymnast. And now the last few years, she decided not to go to college, just to work at Suples. And she goes to
Okay.
college, my daughter is only 21. She's going to be actually 22 in December. So she's still very young. And 2 years ago, she organized the first Bulgarian back world championships. I mean, she was the main person who took over this, and my whole team helped. My wife and in my office assistants there, and they help. Everybody help. Yeah, everybody, coaches, everybody. But it wasn't me. I didn't even know what that's gonna look like. I just gave some advices for the disciplines. That's all. But that's a proof that we made it work. So it'll be fun for her. Um, my son also is in wrestling. They work for the company, partially. My other daughter, who is going to college here in Boise, but she also works part time for Suples. We find a way to work. And to tell you briefly how we doing this is basically I give them authority to make decisions in the area that I consider them to help me. Of course they have to report to me, but they have to be telling me, hey, Dad, I have this plan. We got the solution here. I just have to say yes, or say, oh, wait a minute, I have concerns. I'm sorry you didn't know of this. This could happen. Let's think about this before, we do something with that. So other than that, I'm giving them a green light to lead in the area that they should understand more, and what I expect from them, not not to get into my business, because when it comes to training and coaching people and other stuff that it's not their job, they don't cross that, and we're fine. But once they start telling me what to do in a certain areas that it's my area, we say, wait a minute, we forgot, something. I am not telling you how to do your job, but don't tell me that's my. Even if I lose, say if Ivan said that, we support him. So to be honest with you, straight, we did have some frictions, but we through these situations we learn our lessons, and the work between us as a family is easier and easier, nice and smooth. And I can tell you right now, I can go on a trip. My wife runs the whole business. I trust my wife. I trust Magdalena. I will forget. I will not have this thing here if it was not my wife to give you a little souvenir. You know, to even make this. Oh, drop it. Business card. I'm not. She made all of these stuff. It's very important for the business. Oh, good. You got it. My wife was not me. My wife helped me have a business card. So anyway, I think it's good for people to hear what others. I would love to hear people, how other people are dealing with. And I can, one second. I'm sorry if I'm talking too long, but one thing that you could ask me: how do you train your son? Would you ask me this
Oh
question?
man, this is a question that, yeah, I would probably have asked you that off air because I train with my sons, right? And
You do? I didn't know you. I didn't know you have a
yeah,
son.
I have two of them, and they do jujitsu with me, but I tend to not push them too hard. I let the other coaches push them, and
Wait a
so
minute. I have other coaches, but they're not training that level that I do. So he has pretty much not big a chance here. I mean, my other coaches will not. They're not gonna step. They're in my club, right?
yeah,
So I told my son, I said, look, there's a one thing I haven't accomplished in my coaching that I feel I'm not satisfied with my accomplishment. It's to make my son a champ. Then I got everything in coaching what I was looking for. And if you can help me be the greatest coach in the world, if you allow me to coach you and you listen and be coachable, or I know this way and that way. I can walk away and I'm still, but help me be the best if you want, and I'll help you be the best too. And that's how I talk to my son. And I can be only a dad, but if you want me to be a coach in a gym, once we step inside, you must call me coach. There's no dad here.
yes.
That's
Okay,
it.
so we do that within our company. So my wife works with me on the social media, the marketing side, and my youngest son works with me in the shipping, kind of receiving shipping department. And yeah, they don't get to call me dad or honey. It's
In the car
I'm
or in
Riley.
the
I'm Riley when we're doing business, man. It's and
ex-
we do that because it keeps that separation. It keeps that,
absolutely.
that understanding that we're in a different capacity here. So this is great, man. I love it. I love what you're saying.
Very common things we have, but I found my own way. Not that somebody taught me much. I mean, of course, I watch what other people are doing, but most of the friends I have that have kids, they are not coaching their kids. They were not, and I didn't know if I were able to do this or not. But it's not was not easy. A few times, and actually, before Fargo this year, I told my son I'm not coming. He 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 was not coachable in one of the practices, like about about 10 days before we go to Fargo Nationals. And I said, I'm done. I'm not going to Fargo. I'm not going to Fargo, period. He has to go by himself. And I 2 days in the mornings we drive together. We drive in the car. I don't say a word to him. And then the third day we drive, and I said, look, what do you want me to do so you totally understand how serious I am? I don't like this. If I don't believe in this preparation, I'm just gonna step out and I be your dad. You don't understand that. I cannot work like this. What I need to prove you more. I work with so many athletes. I can be only effective if I do it this way. I don't understand other way. Maybe we hire someone else to do it, but I can't do it this way. And I cannot be with you. I don't want to go there and do something that I don't believe. So you have to really take this serious and make a decision. What do you want me to do? Because I I cannot continue like that. And
Yes.
he was smart enough to say, Dad, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to do my best. And um, I'm trying, Dad. And blah, 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 and he fixed it. And we had a great championships, great memories again. But do I deserve this as a dad? Is very hard for me. And and I told him, look, okay, I will do it again. I mean, you're my son. If you were not my son 5 times by now, I'm out. But we still gonna go in the same house and still eat the same food and everything, and it's not worth it. And we made it work. I mean, we have these upside downs.
Yeah, that's for real, man. Those ups and downs are,
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard for a young man to hear, you know, stuff from his dad, to learn this other skill from his dad. It's like, man, it's just dad echoing in the background. And yeah, there probably is a way to do it, but, yeah, I'm not going to promise I've figured that one out yet.
Yeah, well,
Um,
once he knows, and he knows I'm serious. And when I step out, I'm done, finish.
yeah,
And, but he doesn't have too many chances, but at the same time, he's growing. I see he's growing. He's only 16. It's normal the kids to make some dumb decisions sometimes, but as long as we see they're making progress, they're trying, um,
that's right.
that helps us to keep going. And we'll see if he wants to make me the best coach in the world or I'll be who I am right now.
I love it, man. Hey, can we switch gears to a few lighter questions as we wrap this
Yes,
up?
yes.
All right. Well, hey, this is called, like my shirt says, the Go Earn Your Salt podcast. And I'd like to know from you, when you hear the term go earn your salt, what does that mean to you?
Say it again. Go your salt. I don't see salt. Oh, go earn your salt. Huh. What that
Have you
means
ever
to
heard
me?
that term before?
No, first time. And
Okay.
Bulgarian,
So,
sometimes we translate things in our mind slightly different by
so
word.
what this
Yes.
refers back to, I'll tell you how we came up with it. One of my guys one morning was grappling on the mat, and we finished up, and he's sweating and he's tired and he's been working hard, and he says, "Man, I sure earned my salt today." And that's an old phrase that goes back to ancient times when, sailors and different people were paid with salt as a preservative. It was valuable. It's like they used it as currency, um, like money. And so guys would earn their wages in salt. And if they were good workers, if they worked hard, they said to have earned their salt. And so that's where that term comes from.
Okay,
The,
makes sense. So they were sweating their butts off in practice for the results.
that's right.
Exactly. So, in other words, in your company, in your mindset, you you don't get anything just like that for free. You are working your tail off for that. Is that what you're saying here with this?
Yeah, that's just it. Yeah, we're earning it,
That's how
man.
you made it. That's how you made it. It's the same. So I really like that. But again, I'm Bulgarian. If I have to just my wife, she will completely say, "Well, this is she goes word by word. She will not know the meaning, because we just have to live in the culture. I pick up things a lot easier now. I know understand now after you gave me a little clues here. I totally understand where you're coming from. So, but
It's
makes
you mentioned
sense.
earlier the term ghost there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? You mentioned that and I thought, okay,
Exactly.
maybe he hasn't heard the go in your salt one because that yeah, that's a different phrase in being from a different country, right?
Yeah, but I get it, and yeah, it's no surprise. Everybody who got something, who accomplished something, it worked really hard, and especially in this country. And before I came here in America, I said one dumb thing, and I think you might want to hear that. When I first came, this was in 1992, in December. 1992. In December, I'm landing in Wisconsin there, training with Dennis Hall, meeting some of the athletes from Stevens Point College, and it's my friend Joe. Well, not Joe, it was another guy. He became a very successful business guy. I told him, well, Brad, I mean, here to be successful, um, you have to be like, you gotta, these people, they have to cheat or have to do something. And he looks at me like this and he said, Ivan, not in this country, my friend. And I'm looking, oh,
Right.
really? I said, yeah, I mean, I'm coming from Bulgaria. I'm just, I was 20 some years old, young man. I'm just talking what people are saying. That honest, with honest hard work, you basically you work, and you never have money. Basically, you understand? I mean, that's what they're saying. And basically, you gotta do something, gotta cheat, some gotta do shortcuts somewhere. I mean, shortcuts is fine, you're smart, but another way, honest way, fair way is how to do it. And when Brett told me, Brett Penniger, he's a great friend of mine. He's a he's a very successful business guy now these days. But he told me, Ivan, no, no, my friend, in this country you can. And I was like, really? I believe him, but I don't know nothing. I'm just a simple wrestler and just repeating what I heard. And now
No,
with
it's funny you say that. It's funny
yeah,
you say that because we have a phrase in this country where it's that people will say the little man can't get ahead. Have you ever heard that term?
no, no.
Yeah, the little man
I
can't get ahead, and it basically is what you're saying. It means like, the poor man, the guy who starts from nothing, cannot work hard enough to ever get ahead, and I think that's baloney, man. It's
That's baloney. Yeah, in this
yeah,
country, yes. And you know what? Actually, now these days, in any country, you can do it. I see successful people in Bulgaria. They're starting from nothing, and they're running a very successful companies. They're helping many people. So everything is possible. But back in those days when the system was changing, and there's a lot of unfair things, and people are like, they're discouraged, and you see attorneys are
yes,
working on the street market selling cucumbers and tomatoes. I mean, it was embarrassing. They with people with education, I mean, that's where it's coming from. People with education were selling on the street market vegetables. This was embarrassing. Teachers that don't have jobs, that went to school for so many years, and that's why I hear what people are saying. I was just the athlete sponsor there from my club, or I was there in the army still, so I just never had to deal with my life like now what I did here. I mean, I was totally alone. I'm still alone. I know
right,
nobody's funding me. Government don't fund me.
yeah.
So
It's
we have
funny because when I
to.
built my other company, I have a auto maintenance company that does oil changes and stuff on cars. And so I own this other company also. And when I built that, in order to survive the building process, I delivered pizza in the evenings in my early 30s. And, you know, I'm working with all these teenagers and I'm delivering pizza in the evenings and building my business during the day. And, you know, it's kind of the same thing as you talk about an attorney out there selling cucumbers, yeah,
That's in
we all
Bulgaria,
have.
not in America. Not
Yeah,
America,
correct. Yeah.
in
Yeah, I heard
Bulgaria.
that, but then I thought about myself out there delivering pizzas with all these teenage kids in this evening job just so I could have money to eat while I built my business. And that's how it works, man. It's a grind, right?
Yeah, yeah. I learned in this country. I work for many people. I've been always happy camper here. I've done many jobs, many little jobs like this, and I worked and I just love it here. And that this is something I think you might want to hear because um, I still think a little bit more as a foreign person because my half life was there. I give you an example. My wife very often say, "Oh, wait, what do we do with our kids, their education, and all this?" I said because she sees me, I'm not worried much. I said, "Look, why do you want me to worry? I brought him to a country, all of you, to a country with opportunities. Also, you can go back to Bulgaria anytime because we never left inappropriate. We're free to go. We can go live in Germany. We can live anywhere. We're free. We're authorized, And so why I have to worry about my son goes to school? Let him go whatever he wants to go, whatever he has a passion. I did my job. I cannot tell him and force him where to go. He can go work
Right.
for McDonald's and he still is going to make some money not to beg on the street. That's his decision. Who, my parents, did they came and tell me what to do? I left my house 12 years old and then I moved to the capital when I was 17, 18 years old. And that's it. I was helping my parents, later. What? I
Mhm.
mean, this is was that interesting for you? Probably because you maybe didn't.
It's interesting, man. Your whole story is interesting to me.
It,
Yeah, I feel like we're almost 2 hours in right now, and I'm still just super
yeah,
intrigued to
I
what you're
can
saying.
stop any time. I can stop
No,
any.
no, no. I've got a few more questions and then we'll wrap it up. But let me ask you this. What's your favorite thing to do outside of the wrestling world? Your favorite
Well,
pastime?
I, my favorite thing is when I go to events outside of wrestling. For example, I like to travel to fitness events. It still has to be something for purpose. I used to go fishing with friends. I cannot do this. I used to go fishing when I was competing for to get out of this all this noise and gyms to recover and enjoy a little bit something I like to do. Um, but these days I don't. My brother goes and hunts. I can't do this. I don't hunt. I don't fish anymore. My looks like the biggest thing I will choose. The most interesting thing for me will be when I travel for doing the courses, hanging out with the personal trainers, with my partners, and then see the place where the country is side little sightseeing, eating some domestic food, and spend a little time like that, or see event where we can connect with people who are doing what we're doing, athletics and sports. That seems to be for me the most interesting thing to do at these days of my life.
Excellent, man. Ivan, what's your favorite band of all time? Favorite music?
Music,
Yeah,
music.
favorite band, like favorite group.
I don't have a favorite group. I will say something funny. I choose. Music is a very important because you gotta. I crank them with the music. I have always the whistle. And now these days, Bluetooth allows us to crank it when the music very intense. Some songs that you don't hear cussing, mother, father, stuff like that. And I
Yeah,
don't like that stuff. We train kids. Also, I don't like it. I just don't think you're gonna get tougher because you're listening, cussing and stuff. I don't believe that. I don't. It's
that's
out of
well
my
said.
gym. Out of my gym. We listen music that is appropriate, that pumps the kids up. Mostly like that like some like trance techno that is pumps them up, or if it's something more like a hard rock and stuff, doesn't have cussing and stuff and still pumps them up, and then tells them, hey, now it's time to push. And or there's a few songs that they played in Fargo Nationals. I can tell you even some like ACDC, Thunder, the,
Yes,
I
Thunderstruck.
don't
Yeah,
even what they say much, but if you, I say, my guys, you know what? If you hear the thunder, the ACDC song, and if you hear American Woman, you made it to the Fargo finals. American
that's
Woman, that
awesome,
song,
man.
they don't play it anymore. This year they didn't. But these songs they play, and some others, some other songs. I tell my guys who are training for Fargo, I said, if you hear these songs, in the finals. So when we do our last competition matches before we depart Fargo, I make them warm up on their own, and I play the musics that most likely will be played in Fargo Nationals.
I love it. I love it. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, I like American Grill.
Yeah,
Most, yes, I will never turn a good quality, steak. Like salmon, protein guy. I like pasta too. I'm sushi. I name it. Name it all. And I like fruits, vegetables, and stuff like that. Just mostly appropriate food for athletes, for coaches. I love donuts too, but don't eat it much.
don't eat those much. What is the
Suples
scariest?
melts the donuts. Suples training melts the donuts too, but you don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, you don't have to work out longer just to overcome your donuts, huh?
Yeah.
I love it. What's the scariest moment of your life?
Oh, I had few scary moments. I was scared after, but I didn't think much. One of them I recently think few times. One time my dad almost cut my head with an axe. We're in the woods and we're chopping. We're Bulgaria. I was little. I wasn't even in sports school. Maybe I was like 11 or so, and he's knocking these trees down, and he gave me make me a little axe so I can cut the branches. And I was chopping at one branch, and my dad came and said, Ivan, this is very simple. I'll show you the technique here, and you can cut it with one hit. And it's just, let me pass me your axe. And I passed him my axe, and I stayed like this on the side. And my dad, and the tree is here, and my dad hit the tree, and the axe bounced the actual, it cuts the branch like cheese, and the axe bounces on the actual tree and goes, and I'm right here behind him almost a little bit. He doesn't see me, and the axe went like this. Imagine I had a very thick hair. I don't have a photo to show you. Actually, I have one over there. And, and the hair went up. And I said, Dad, you see what he did? You waved my hair, Dad. You waved my hair. And my dad is looking, what? And my grandpa and my grandma, what did you do? You almost killed the kid. Let's get out of here. And my dad and my grandpa, like my grandma, and we
Goodness,
all
man.
packed, and it was the middle of the day, and we all left that place. And this comes to my mind very often. I just thought about this the other day. I had some other scary stuff, but um, nothing else was war. I was nothing scared more than dealing with life. But this I said, wow, this could be really, really bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was one of it, you know. But my family, they left immediately, and that's it. Didn't continue working for a day. God saved me,
Yes, sir.
saved us all, you know.
Okay.
So
What is your favorite book of all time?
I don't read much books. I read the book for like heroes who I really I like some of my athletes, my colleagues, like my friend Steve Frazier, like my former assistant coach Jim Grunwald, Adam Wheeler, all of these guys who wrote their books and give. I read their books, and a few other people that I have, some great coaches around the world, you know, Dan Gable, and also he's some great. So all of these books are interesting. I'm not a big reader guy. I like to watch and learn and study. Unfortunately, yes, this is who I am. I don't read. It would be great to read, but I'm mostly focused on what specifically I need in my
A lot of
education.
biographies about people you admire, huh?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Great.
People who I
So,
admire.
Yvonne,
Yeah.
tell me what's next from here, man. What are you doing next?
Same thing. Um, Keep being creative with Suples. Try to bring new innovations, new upgrades in our product line, in our education. That's my responsibility to the company. Along with that, those kids who are training for performance and want to get to the next level, especially the Olympic style, because that's mostly it's my direction, you know, my area, performance for coaching Olympic style of wrestling. I'm there to help more kids reach their goals until they're with me. Because after 18, I don't have funding to keep them here, offer them something, but I give at least I give them a good momentum to be recognized for to be a good recruits for some high level college programs and maybe there's some programs now they practice Greco Roman wrestling and they offer scholarships in the country. So that's where I'm mostly at this time, this stage of my life. Keep doing the same thing and just when I turn around every year, I have to see innovations, I have to see progress in these areas, then I have peace that I've been effective and I feel productive. I feel happy what I'm doing.
Beautiful. Um, Tell me this, where can you be found?
Where I can be found, suples.com, suples.com, or suples wrestling club.com is for the club, just the local
Okay.
we have a small, well, decent wrestling club. I mean, about 60 to 80 kids go to our club through the year, and
Nice.
this year we've been doing very well. We had 3 national champs this year.
Amazing. Amazing, man. Well, listen, we'll paste all your social media stuff in the description of the episode when it airs. So you'll have people be able to find you there also. But man, this has been a blast. I could talk to you for another hour easy, probably two more. But we probably need to wrap this thing up. I know you got other things to do today. And um, Yvonne, I just appreciate you coming on, man. It's been fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Riley, for this interview. It was easy communication with you because, yeah, you said the conversation was going nice and smooth because you asked me things that are more my style of talking. You know, I had some people asking me, you know, some things. They start a conversation on one thing, they start asking me about getting into politics or anything like that, and all this stuff that I just it wasn't for me, and I can go very fast with my interview, but but with you things go very, very, very nice and smooth, and I would like to welcome you and invite you to visit our center here in Boise, and spend some time with you when you have a chance.
Oh man, I would love that so much. So I'll get a hold of you and we'll do that. That would be amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing. All right.
Great.
Ivan, go earn your salt, my friend.
Thank you.
Hey, you've just finished up this episode, and I want to know, are you or someone you know a getting after it, go earn your salt type of person? If so, message me directly on Instagram at the Go Earn Your Salt podcast, and perhaps we can have you on the show. Also, if you like this content, leave us a review, subscribe, and share with your friends. And perhaps this podcast can help you and them go earn your salt.